Hey, what's up, everybody? This next episode, we talk about the Rising 38 and Super Rising. You know, Mayweather, Mikuru, and of course, that freaking loser that disrespected the Japanese people, disrespected Rising, disrespected Mayweather, and threw that flowers on the ground by Mayweather's feet. Check it out.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Yamatodamashii podcast. My name is James, of course, joined by the legend himself, Mr. Enson and Inoue. Enson, how you doing, man? How's it going?
Good, man. Everything's good.
Awesome. Well, it was a big weekend this weekend in terms of RIZIN, so we thought we would cover both Super RIZIN and RIZIN 38, both fun cards. To kick things off, you were there in the building, right? You actually were there live.
Yeah, actually wasn't planning to go, but got a last minute call that they got me 2 tickets, and it was like $3,000 tickets.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it was about 8 rows from the front. So it's pretty good seats. And then, you know, I mean, MMA, you know, as soon as it goes to the ground, it's always better to watch the monitor. I had 2 huge monitors right in front of us, so it was kind of a really good seats they got us, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah. It did look like you had good seats. I saw from looking at your Instagram, it looked like they hooked you up, and especially considering the ticket prices, that was kind of a big controversy, right? Around how much.
Yeah, it was another one that I think the higher price was $6,000 and the highest one was $10,000.
Wow.
I wanted to get a hold of the $10,000 tickets just to take a picture of it.
Yeah. $10,000 on an event. You gotta have that Saudi money for that. That's big. That's big bucks.
Burn for that, man.
So when you look back on this event, the funny thing is, right, the biggest story that probably came out of it wasn't even an actual fight. It was probably what led up to the Mayweather Mikuru fight. So I thought, hey, let's start from there. Let's get your opinion on what some of us international fans have been calling Flowergate, which. Just to tell you from our side of things, it was kind of funny because I was watching along with some of the guys in the RIZIN Discord. Me and the guy Master Senton, he was messaging me on Instagram. So I was kind of got the reaction of some of the international fans. And when it first happened, when the guy chucked down the flowers, people kind of we were laughing. We thought it was funny. We were like, "What is this? Is this some sort of like YouTuber comedian thing?" We just didn't know what to expect. I've never seen that ever in a Japanese MMA event. But then it was funny seeing the reaction after was not, you know, from the Japanese side, it was not funny at all, right? It was, you know, Saki Kabara was apologizing later in the event. But from your side of things, if you wouldn't mind saying what the live reaction was and what some of the Japanese follow-up has been.
Well, so first of all, to explain the flower, it's almost like a sign of respect. So they usually have, what they usually have is like a famous person or a big sponsor usually does that. So it's supposed to be considered like a real privilege to give almost like a good luck offering, you know, and also it's also like a gratitude of thank you for performing for us, you know. So for someone to throw it on the ground was almost unheard of in Japan. So as soon as she did that, the whole arena was kind of like there was just this weird air to it. You know, some people, I noticed some people on the internet, I mean, on my social medias were saying like, that was planned, but that was definitely not planned by RIZIN. If anything was planned, it was probably planned by the guy to get famous. And he's a real strange character. He has this real bad reputation of having very bad taste in stuff he does. So I think he was probably willing to have bad press to get famous. So when you think about it, they had famous rappers and famous YouTubers present flowers to the other fighters, but I don't even remember a single name except this Takeshi, this guy that did that, you know. So apparently his plan worked. Mayweather knew nothing about it. The promotion knew nothing about it. And the Japanese people, you know, it's such a tradition to do that for, you know, I noticed that most of the Japanese people, or if not all of the Japanese people who covered this, expressed embarrassment and shame for a Japanese person to do something to a celebrity. And I've also had people come up to me and say, "Oh, but Mayweather is a woman beater. He deserves more than that." And it's like, okay, yeah, Mayweather might not be the greatest guy. You know, he was charged with or alleged with beating his girlfriend or something. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but you know, for me too, you know, it's like Mayweather is you know, super big name. People gotta kind of pretty much work around him, but just because you have that clout doesn't mean you need to flaunt the clout. I mean, as you know, I firsthand experienced it in Hawaii. The RIZIN guys couldn't really say when Mayweather was coming into Hawaii. It was pretty much when Mayweather comes, he'll come. Even the press conference, there was a timeline, and you know, I mean, BJ Penn was a different story because he just made a mistake on the flight and came late. But Mayweather knew exactly. He was already there. They had him the day before, but he came when he wanted to come. You know, Mayweather, you're on at 6 o'clock. He'll come at 6:30. You know, and it was with no explanation. The event too, same thing. You know, like the press conference. You notice he wasn't at the press conference because Mayweather probably decided not to go to the press conference. He also they wanted, you know, they like the fighters in the event early to do the doctor's check, get ready, you know, do the opening ceremony, like the mock run of the opening ceremony, you know, verbally with the fighters. They wanted Mayweather to come there at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. He left the hotel at 1 o'clock. The fight started, I think what time did the fight start? The fight started at 2 o'clock. In Japan time, of course. I mean, that opening ceremony, he wasn't there for the opening ceremony. And of course, Gigi was with him, so Gigi wasn't there for the opening ceremony. So the two people in the main event, the sub-main event, the co-main event of the Super Rising wasn't in the ceremony, which is probably not very good for this promotion. They were pretty much bummed about that. You know, before the fight, you know, because he was supposed to be there at 12, he left the hotel at 1. He barely got in time for Gigi's fight. I'm not sure how it went, but I'm pretty sure Gigi had to run and rush and put on his gloves and didn't get the proper warm-up and went in there. And his fight, after Gigi's fight was over, it was Mayweather's fight. And me and Soshi went back into the locker room to, you know, to see Gigi, you know, after he lost, to say, how you doing and everything. And it was crazy because Mayweather was supposed to be on deck already, but he has only one hand wrapped. He's getting the second hand wrapped. He got music playing in his room, just singing along with the music. Like you guys going to start when I want to start, you know? So
yeah.
I can see a lot of people not liking that. You know, the whole promotion, the whole whatever 30, 50,000 people had to wait. And I mean, of course, it was aired on also a television station in Japan. It had a pay-per-view, you know, but of course, you know, Mayweather is Mayweather and everybody has to wait for Mayweather, you know. And that, you know, that didn't sit well with a lot of people. And there is rumor that the reason why that guy did that was because of that.
Right. Okay.
Disrespected by Mayweather. But regardless, okay, even though I'm here sitting in the stand saying, wow, Mayweather, you know, that's not cool, man. You're famous, you're big time, everything, but that doesn't mean you need to be super selfish, you know, and just go by your own time, you know, work together. You're getting paid 15 to 20 million for the fight, you know, do your part of the side and, you know, keep your time zone, you know, keep the agreements. And even though I did feel that way too, watching it, thinking, God damn, Mayweather, shit, that's kind of uncool of him to not, you know, I mean, the guys at RIZIN is stressing out, you know. But as soon as the guy threw the flowers down, regardless of what I felt about, you know, Mayweather not being considerate to the audience, to the promotion, and to the people, that was just overboard. that as soon as he did that, man, I mean, for me, if I was ringside, I would have wanted to grab the guy and pull him in the back. I still would love to find the guy and have him make a video or personal apology to people, but that's probably not going to happen. But you know, I mean, there's still this very anger, a little bit of anger in me for what he did, and I almost feel disrespected that he did it. You know, the ring is a real sacred place to us fighters, and that to do that, he's not a fighter. To disrespect the ring, disrespect the, you know, Mayweather is going to go into a fight in a few seconds. You know, to have to play that, do that to his mental, you know, his mental focus. You know, Mikuru also, you know, it will frustrate him because that's never happened before. And, you know, it also takes away from all the fighters. You know, that's all people are talking about now. That, you know, the throwing the flowers down, you know. So it's, you took away for your, whatever, you know, the funny thing is he's never given a reason yet.
Right.
And it's kind of bad. So whatever his reason is, you know, whatever selfish reason he did that for, it really took away from a lot of people. And, you know, Mayweather was pissed off. Mayweather at the time, I think he handled it really well. He just picked it up and gave it to his corner. And I think the only reason why he handled it really well is because he didn't really understand what it was. He didn't really understand how much disrespect that was. Later on, when he found out, they had an after party for Mayweather. Just for Mayweather. And they probably spent a lot of money bringing people, renting the place out. He never showed. He was pissed.
Wow.
Whereas he was pissed off about what happened with the flowers. You know, regardless, you know, that wasn't because Sakakibara, it wasn't his fault. Maybe it was, in a way you can say it happened at RIZIN, so it's RIZIN's fault. So Sakakibara would have to take blame. But personally, I don't think so. And I don't think he should have punished Sakakibara like that because, you know, there's a big, you know, when you have an after party, that's a big sales pitch too, you know, for people who buy tickets. You get after party privileges. So, you know, the fact that he didn't show up at the after party, there's rumor that he was pissed off about it, about the flower thing, you know, which is understandable, but to hold RIZIN directly responsible and punish them for it, I didn't think it was fair. And apparently, I think he flew him today.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, so he's in and out, you know. So I'm not sure what the real scoop is on that. I mean, if he really is pissed off or he just didn't want to go out and he just went home today, or I mean, you know, what the reason was. But yeah, that whole flower thing really took away a lot from the promotion, from the event, from the fighters. Hopefully, it didn't tarnish a relationship between RIZIN and Mayweather. You know, so the Sakakibara came out and apologized in the ring. He apologized profusely in the after interview, the post interview that he had, and you know, it was just a disgraceful thing for the Japanese people. Disgraceful thing for me as a fighter. Disgraceful thing for Mayweather to be disrespected like that, regardless of what people think of him. That is not the time, that was not the place, and that was not the way to do it. So I totally condemn what he did. And that guy should never be allowed into a fight arena ever again, and should be banned from any type of you know, public sports event, I believe.
Yeah, fair. It's like you said, it had so much of a knock on so many different aspects, right? I mean, we started this show talking about that rather than some of the awesome fights that happened later on RIZIN 38. But yeah, I mean, just ignoring that and then actually going to the fight then. So as far as Mikuru versus Floyd Mayweather, it's such a strange fight for me in my perspective, because Mikuru definitely had his moments. He looked okay in like some aspects of it. He definitely landed some punches. And even in that second round, things started to get a little bit interesting. But just there was a low blow. The ref didn't really do much about it. And then next minute, it's like the last punch right before the bell. The stand-up was kind of weird. What was your take on it?
Well, for one, I thought Mikuru's only chance was to just scrap, put in a street fight, push him, throw wild blows, and just pretty much put everything on the line in the first round. Because fighting a street fighting style like that won't give you, you won't be able to handle the stamina. So I thought they'd just put everything on the first round and go for it. I didn't think he would be able to technically be even in any type of match for Mayweather. But man, did he surprise me. Mikuru has a lot more talent than I thought. He actually did fight like a boxing match and actually did pretty good, man. He actually caught me with some jabs.
Mm-hmm.
And he was throwing hard shots, and he actually, connected a couple of them. Yeah. So for me, I was really surprised at how well he did and how talented that kid is, and thinking to myself, man, this kid's going to actually get better and better, man. I mean, not as far as boxing, but in MMA itself, this kid's going to just get better and better. It's amazing how he's almost like Tsuyoshi, where it surprises me how he picks up stuff and how good he gets. It's just such a natural talent. So, with that said, the ending, I thought it was weird, man. I mean, balance-wise, too, yeah, if you see the punch in slow motion, it wasn't like a direct hit. It kind of grazed off of him. The thing that freaked me out was, okay, he get knocked down, okay, but to not get up and to stagger like he did, even to a point where it's almost like a picture duplicate of Tenshin. You know how he kind of was standing and not, almost like if you're gonna act like you're knocked out, that's probably the best way. You try to get up, but you can't get up. I mean, I'm not implying that he was acting, but I mean, it's just a real fishy thing that it wasn't. He got hit harder, during the fight, that last punch. To his credit, the only thing I can maybe, if you want to have an argument for him, is when that punch came and he turned and it grazed, I think it hit his head and it might have shook his head sideways. So, I personally was very surprised that punch ended the fight. Yeah. I was surprised that fight gave him such long-term dizziness where he staggered around the ring and his eyes looked like he was glossed over. I mean, hearing Mayweather's interview, even Mayweather himself said that he didn't think that punch was a punch that would hurt him. But he did say that he did say, to back that up, that it wasn't any fixed fight or anything. He did say that he thinks that maybe it might have been the couple punches before that landed.
Yeah, there was one which was quite clean. I think just after the low blow, he got hit with quite a clean punch.
Yeah, so Mayweather was thinking. So Mayweather even admitted that he didn't think he was kind of surprised that punch did it, but so he thinks that it might have been the punch before or a little earlier. So, yeah, I mean, you can't if you have anyone out there saying it was a fixed fight. I mean, the way they were throwing down in the ring, it was no fixed fight. I mean, if you want to say that ending might have been fixed, you could easily make an argument for that. But as far as my opinion, I don't think it was. I think it's just the circumstances was unfortunate where the punch that he went down on was like grazing blow instead of a flush impact. So, yeah, I mean, the round was about over if he just, pretended like he was okay instead of not just looking out into space where the ref had to stop it. That was another thing that was kind of funny that I thought he would pretend. A lot of us fighters don't want the fight to stop, so we pretend. But with that said, Mikuru has never been knocked out before from a punch. So he probably didn't know what it felt like. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't think straight. Maybe he freaked out a little bit. So, there's a lot of arguments that could be, covering the fact that and giving you reasons why it happened how it did, with being 100% legit. So, yeah, if I had to make a guess, it was 100% legit. It was a great fight. It ended a little prematurely, I think, because it was that punch. If it was a flush punch and dropped them, it might have been a little bit more satisfying for us viewers. But, that's the way the fight game is, and not everything's explained.
Yeah, it's true, right? Not, like you say, not everything's perfect. It was so it was just weird just seeing the air go completely out the room, right? Because the fans were starting to pick up, especially in round 2 with some of the success that Mikuru was having. And then for it just to end like that, I mean, the live reaction, right? It must have been just died, right?
Yeah, it was pretty, like, people were lost for words because, like you said, it was getting exciting, and we were thinking, shit, Mikuru might actually land something.
Yeah.
And when he got knocked down at the end of the round, we all knew the round was ending because we heard the tap of the 10-second.
Yeah.
The tap they have on the 10-second. So when he went down, I was like, he's going to beat the bell. And he was like, oh, they're counting. Okay, he'll be okay because he's already standing. And then you could see his eyes it was kind of glossed over. You saw that right when I saw it, I was like, oh, fuck, they're going to stop it. We're not going to see a third round. Damn.
Yeah.
And, it did stop it. So that, that was a little anticlimactic. Yeah.
Yeah, to say the least. I was gagging for round 3. I thought we were going to get it, but sadly not. But yeah, no, I mean, the spectacle, right? It was entertaining. It was good. I'm glad it happened. It was fun. Would you like to see Mayweather back in a RIZIN ring?
Koji expressed, that guy who fought Gigi, he expressed interest in fighting him. I would also, I mean, I don't know. Koji sounds interesting, but Koji has fought boxing matches before, and he has, done, he's a good boxer, but he's done satisfactorily well against no-name boxers. So yeah, it's kind of, like Mikuru never did boxing, so it's kind of interesting. Oh, what is he going to do in boxing? But we already know Koji's does boxing. He knows how to box, and he's nothing like anything that's going to be able to surprise Mayweather. Mikuru, if anything, had a lot of power, was bigger. I think Koji might be a little smaller than Mayweather now.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, so that I don't know the numbers between what RIZIN makes from it, pay-per-view wise, as far as stature wise, what they gain from Mayweather. Personally, I don't know if it's worth the amount they got to pay him and the hassle they have to put up with when he comes. But I don't know anything about the financial side in RIZIN. Personally, I was like, is he even worth it? I mean, he doesn't come to the rule meetings, he doesn't go to the after party, he doesn't come on time, he doesn't, they can't, whenever you talk about if you ask them a question about Mayweather, they can't give you an answer because they only know what Mayweather will do when he does it.
Right.
I mean, if he's that much of a plus to the event, which I think he is, that's why they keep bringing him back. Yeah, I mean, as far as someone that's trying to help and have RIZIN be successful, I would put a big question mark if it's worth even bringing Mayweather back. As far as a fan wise, as far as if I'm not even looking at RIZIN side, but just looking as a fan watching the fight, unless he fights someone like Pacquiao or the other boxers that was there that trained Tsuyoshi Uchiyama, one of those guys, for me personally, I'm not really that interested in seeing him fight again. But that's me as a fighter/fan. So I don't know about the 100% fan. What about you? How would you want to see him fight again?
Seems like a big investment for. I mean, the big thing, right? Is like, who would he face? You could do Kai Asakura, but then I don't know. I just think I think that the ship's kind of sailed, to be honest. I think these exhibition bouts that Mayweather keeps doing, and he's got another one lined up. He's going to fight a popular YouTuber's brother, Deji. KSI, I don't know if you know him. KSI is massive in the UK. So he's got the next one lined up already. And they've talked about doing McGregor again, possibly at some point. I just think that the Mayweather's sort of slowly on the decline, and by the time that he would probably come back to RIZIN, I don't know if there would be an opponent where people would really care again. But there's avenues, there's intrigue, the way things ended, right? They could be possible, but it's like you say, the price tag is so high that there's probably things they could do in RIZIN that would be more interesting, and maybe other outsiders they could bring in to sort of make things you know, spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if they're thinking of pay-per-view buys, I mean, I think Mayweather's name is not enough. If you know, I mean, I'm sure the buys are good in Japan, but from what I hear in America, nobody knows who Mikuru is.
Oh, that was so evident. Blooming heck. Any sort of US coverage of this event, like no one knew his name, no one could say his name right, no one had a clue anything about what he's done, his past, who he was, how rich he is in terms of, you know, how popular the stuff he does online is, his own promotion. There was so much that was like missed. I didn't see anything other than the people that cover JMA normally, who you know, where I typically get my sources from. Everything that was, you know, either put out by Fight or, you know, the other avenues, no one really had a clue who Mikuru was, which, and I don't think he really, after this, I don't think people are going to, you know, look to find out who he was. I think if the performance had been a little bit different, I think people might have gone, oh, okay, you know, I'm now a Mikuru fan, or I want to go find out and watch some of his old fights. But the way the fight ended, I'm not sure he made that many international fans with the performance.
I don't think so. You know, with that, you know, balance of Mayweather's name, but Mikuru's not known. If they have Mayweather back again, who they can get Koji to fight him, but no one knows Koji. There's nobody else that could actually fight him here that would actually bring out any US-based international fans. So I personally feel like the money they spend for Mayweather, spend that money and bring some fighters in from the US. Bring Alistar. I mean, he's not from the US, but the big names. Yeah. Bring Alistar over. Bring Bob Sapp. You know, bring these names that, you know, will bring the audience's attention. You know, you got guys like Nate Diaz. Bring Nate Diaz to Japan. You know,
big free agent. You know who they need to bring in? Who's a free agent right now? And I tweeted about this because I think he's the perfect fit for what RIZIN has. And he's probably in that stage of his career where I feel like the competition will be a good level for him. Eddie Alvarez. They need to bring Eddie back to Japan. He would just fit. He's in 155. You know, when we get to RIZIN 38, we'll talk about the opening fight. But
who would he fight? Who's 155 in RIZIN?
So that first fight, Luis Gustavo versus Jiri Ohara. I tweeted out and said whoever wins or loses needs to fight Eddie Alvarez, because that's an awesome fight. Because Eddie Alvarez always has that title, right, of like the king of underground, the violence fighter. You know, he's just always been one of my favorites to watch. So he, you know, he fits in perfectly with that division. Obviously, you got Satoshi, who's the champ. So, you know, anyone Satoshi fights is interesting just because of his jiu-jitsu background. So it's a good division for him. I hope he, you know, I think Bellator might try and sign him. PFL might try and sign him, but hopefully RIZIN, if there's anyone, a free agent, that's a good one to get.
Yeah, and I think Nate Diaz would be a good one too.
That would be awesome.
And I'm pretty sure they could, because everybody wants to fight in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a bucket list for most fighters. I mean, if you present that to Nate, I'm pretty sure Nate would be interested. You know, spend their money on that kind of stuff. And I think a pay-per-view card for the US would be huge, and it would bring eyes to RIZIN, I believe.
Nate, now.
You know, I'm actually going to bring it up to them. I'm going to actually meet up with Akakibara and Shingo and mention that to them, that they should try and reach out and grab Nate Diaz and Eddie Alvarez.
100%, because Nate especially, right, is a bigger draw than Mayweather in the US right now. Because after the McGregor fights, Nate is absolutely like, I think the UFC will try and re-sign him. He's that still that hot, to be fair. But yeah, if you can do it, that will be awesome. But that, I think once
you get Nate in, get Nick in.
Oh, that'd be cool. Get another fight with Nick.
I'm a Nick. You know, for me, my whole career was about Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Diaz. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, younger brother going to fight. Okay, younger brother's not as good, but younger brother's going to fight. And then all of a sudden Nick just takes the back seat, and it's like everyone's like Nate Diaz. And I'm like, wait. Do you guys know that Nick is actually the one? They're like, no, Nate. I said, whoa. By far, Nick, man, you know. But people don't know that, because the new fans now don't even know who Nick is. They think he's just Nate's older brother. No, but Nick is the godfather behind the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, 100%. It's a shame that he doesn't get the recognition, right?
But yes.
So Yeah.
with that question about bringing Mayweather back, you know, I think they want to, but personally, I would rather them invest in bigger name fighters and spread that Mayweather money out and get like 5 or 6 like big names coming into Japan, and you know, with a big pay-per-view, like a super pay-per-view, like bringing in like 4 or 5 big names. I think they could bring a lot of eyes to Rising. You know, I mean, people of course think Rising is just some total Japanese production that sometimes houses Mayweather, you know, but if they can get, you know, Alvarez, Nick Diaz, you know, get those guys on the card, then you're going to bring eyes to people and say, oh, this Rising has some good fights. And next time the Rising's out, of course, right now people hear Rising, they're not even interested. But if they have a big fight with big names, I think the next time Rising mentioned, they'll actually check the card, you know?
Yeah. Because the impression I always get is that
$30 for the pay-per-view?
Oh, yeah. 4 fights.
How much was it for when you ordered?
So I ordered it on Fight, and I think it was £20 UK for Super Rizin, and then I think it was 15 for Rizin 38. So it's about what, £35.
Oh, they sold it separately.
They sold it separately. Yeah, there was talk of it being a combo, but there was no such thing. There was no combo. Just took the hit, but yeah, and getting up extra early.
Well, now the UFC's $75.
Yeah, UFC's crazy prices.
Now the UFC's what? Yeah, so it's like, frick. You like MMA, man? $30 to watch 14 fights is pretty damn good, you know?
Yeah. While we're just on the subject of this, just because you mentioned his name before, and he was all over the broadcast in Super Rizin, Manny Pacquiao was there in person. Is there plans for Manny Pacquiao to do a fight in Rizin? Is that something that's in discussion?
I don't know, man. The fact that they brought him over, I'm wondering if they want to do something what they did with Mayweather with Manny Pacquiao. You know, have Manny Pacquiao fight somebody as an exhibition. I mean, he didn't seem too close-minded to it. He did seem like he was interested in having an exhibition with Mayweather, but Mayweather totally just put that out of the question. Mayweather, when they asked him about him fighting Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather straight up said that, no, I don't want to fight no ex-world champion, current world champion. I want to fight people who didn't have a chance to fight someone like me, MMA fighters, YouTubers. So he's pretty much saying he doesn't want to fight anybody legit. I mean, I think he expressed that he's having fun now. He's already put in the work. His body's been damaged a lot, and he's not going to do that anymore. And he just wants to enjoy and entertain, which is understandable. But 50-0, man, shit. I mean, that guy went through some grinds in training and fighting. So, I mean, it's totally understood if he wants to just, you know, have fun. I mean, if you're making 15 million to fight Mikuru, 10 million to fight Tenshin, which is really small, a lot smaller than you, at your rules, at your time, at your Mayweather time, you know, it's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it
get paid
sense. I mean, 50, business.
You know, 50 million to fight Manny Pacquiao, but your training's got to be super huge. The risk of getting injured is huge. The sacrifice you have to make to prepare for it. Rather fight 3 YouTubers and make the same amount of money. And, you know, just from what I hear, he barely trained. He had parties the night before. You know, he's having a good time. So, I mean, Mayweather's a smart businessman. He's doing what he needs to do at the twilight of his career to make money and get as much, get his bank as big as he can before he's not able to do this kind of things.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I think I don't think there's much of a market for Manny Pacquiao Mayweather again now anyway, to be honest. And I almost felt like maybe they brought in Pacquiao just to try and get that little bit of extra buzz where maybe the casual fan sees, oh, Mayweather and Pacquiao in the same place again or something like that. I don't know whether, they are talking to him about doing a future event, but I don't know. Is Pacquiao that famous in Japan?
No, I don't even know if Mayweather was that famous in Japan, you know.
Mm,
But with Mayweather coming here, it's made him really famous in Japan because people are
right.
Mayweather, who's that? You know, and you know, when you find out who he is, like, whoa. So
Mm,
that would probably also work with Manny Pacquiao, but I'm not
so they,
sure. I'm not sure why he came in. I thought it was about setting up a Mayweather Pacquiao exhibition, but that seemed like it's not going to happen. So
mhm.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure why he came in. If he's going to have any future roles with Rising, but I mean, honestly, I think Manny Pacquiao would be a lot easier to work with.
Yeah, seems like it.
But yeah, I don't know. I honestly I can't tell you why Manny Pacquiao was involved. It was just because he helped train Mikuru and
Yeah.
they just brought him as a guest. That could possibly just be it, but not sure. I couldn't really speculate on that.
Interesting, interesting. Well, I mean, that was all the sort of glitzy, glammy of Super Rising, but we got to talk about Rising 38 because there were some awesome fights, some really good performances as well.
In
So
fact,
I'm
all the
interested to get
won.
what's that?
All the fights except the Ayaka fight was super good.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really easy to watch card, actually, 38.
Yeah.
It would just sort of flowed so well in terms of that, especially when, you know, you got people in the US trying to stay awake. For me, I'm just waking up. I had to get up at 4 a.m. to watch Super Rising. So, you know, I was eating my breakfast while enjoying Rising 38, but loads of good performances. The first one I obviously mentioned, Luis Gustavo. Really, I was really looking forward to that fight just because of the two guys' styles. Ohara's had loads of those sort of knockouts by soccer kicks and stomps. So, but he ran through him, right? It was super impressive.
Yeah, that Luis is unreal. He's a good fighter. World class. He could fight in any association he wants to.
Yeah. He's such a throwback, right, to the old Pride days of some of those Brazilians that just came in and were just absolute killers. So you love to see it. I know
Yeah,
he's
Anderson. I mean, isn't he a protege of Vanderlei?
yeah, I think he is. I think he's part of the whole sort of shootbox Vanderlei Silva legacy there. So that's really cool to see. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with him next, whether they give him a title shot against Satoshi or maybe someone else. But you know, I think any fight Luis fights is good fight.
Yeah.
Someone unfortunately that did have a bad night was Hagiwara. He's now 6-7. What do you think Hagiwara should do next?
Well, I think Hagiwara needs to train harder and get more prepared because I think he's been going off his looks and his sales, the way he, you know, he's a bad boy and he sells. I know his gym that he trains at, they're more strikers. So very good striking, but you know, his ground, you know, Suzuki has good ground. Suzuki's all around, standing and ground. So, you know, I don't know if Hagiwara really needs to do any much. I mean, of course, you can never train enough, so he should train more. But I just think that Chihiro Suzuki is just a better fighter.
Mm.
I saw he was at the tryouts at Rising. He was sparring with the Hawaii guys. He actually went in and even sparred with one of the Hawaii finalists. And that kind of caught my eye. I knew about Suzuki. I saw him fight before, but I didn't think he was really that good. I thought he was an up and coming fighter. When I saw him spar and do stuff in Hawaii, I was like, wow, this kid is good, man.
Yeah.
And he's ballsy, man. He'll just, you know, in the trials, somebody needed a sparring partner. He went and sparred with the guy. Then at the end, when we picked the finalists, there was one guy that we couldn't find an opponent to spar or fight with. He went and raised that and went in. It's like, wow, this guy's game is shit, you know? So I got a lot of respect for him. Nice guy. When I talk to him, doesn't you know, have his high nose up in the air like, you know, Mikuru does. Very nice guy, very humble, man. Like, wow, this kid's a nice kid and super good fighter. So I think he was just a better fighter. I mean, good kid, man. I'm you know, became a fan. I'm wishing him the best.
Yeah. Yeah, he's impressive. I was impressed when he fought Ren as well. That he looked really good in that fight. So you can tell he's making each improvement with each fight. I think with Hagiwara, he's a bit unlucky, right? Because he ran into Kleber the fight before, right? And I felt like that was a horrible matchup for him. And even though he did that, you know, had the usual little bit of success, but I just feel maybe matchmaking, he needs to take a step back, right? And maybe go for someone a bit easier or something. You know, just not a gimme fight, but just
they're feeding him to the lions, yeah.
Yeah, he's been.
That's what's real weird about Rising, man. You wonder they would groom their fighters better, you know?
I guess sometimes it's just too eager, right? They want to see these hot prospects and see how hot they are, I guess, right? So,
Yeah.
In the heavyweight division, Shibisai with another really impressive performance. You had said in the past that Shibisai does not want to face Japanese competition. Is that still the case?
From what I understand, but I think the way how well he's doing, I think he's on a collision course with a rematch for Shoshi. So if Shoshi wins his next one, I think there's a good chance that Shibisai Shoshi 2 will happen. I mean, we're all for it. Shoshi wants that fight, of course, because we lost.
Yep.
We want that. We want to rerun that back. You know, Shibisai. You know, I've heard rumors that he doesn't want to fight Shoshi in particular. I heard rumors that he doesn't want to fight any Japanese people. But what I think he needs to understand is, there is Japanese fighters that people want to say he's the best Japanese fighter. And if he beat Shrek, there would have been a very good stance to say that he is the best Japanese fighter.
Right.
But the fact that he lost to Shrek and Shoshi just demolished Shrek, I think that puts in that little idea that wait a minute, man.
Yeah.
We got to see Shoshi and him running back to decide who's really the best MMA fighter in Japan. So I'm thinking that Shibisai is doing so well, Shoshi is doing so well. They're on a collision course. Whether it's the end of the year, end of the year, I think they want to bring in a Bellator fighter for Shoshi, which I think would be really good for Shoshi.
Ooh, that could be fun.
But I'm thinking maybe next year, in the early next year, I can pretty much guess that we'll be probably facing Shibisai again.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it definitely seems like they're on a bit of a collision course. Both have looked really good, since their fight. And I'm excited to see where they go next. Now, what has definitely, in my eyes, was the fight of the night, but also potentially fight of the year for RIZIN was Ougikubo versus Kim. That fight was awesome.
Oh, yeah. That Kim guy is so tough.
Did you know much about Kim before? Because I knew he was a champion in Road, but
I knew nothing. I didn't even know he was a champion in Road. When I saw him come out, his looks, he's balding, he's skinny. He just doesn't look like a fighter. And you look at him and say, okay, they're giving you Ougikubo a feeder. That's what I thought. Okay, this guy can't be a good fighter. He's a feeder. Maybe he fought somewhere. And I didn't even know he was Korean. I thought he was a Japanese guy that was put out of, Deep or Shuto or something. Just some guy that they wanted to, give Ougikubo a match, because he just won the Grand Prix. So he's a Grand Prix champion. So you figured he would have a big fight. But
yeah,
since they didn't give him a big fight, I thought, maybe he'll just give him a feeder, let him win him again. And next fight, he'll get a big fight. And when the fight started, I was like, holy shit, this guy is good. And not only was he good, Ougikubo in the beginning must have caught him with like 5 or 6 huge shots. And he walked right through him, man.
Yeah. It's like you said, like the appearance threw me off completely. I mean, I was chatting to international fans and they were just all saying about the hairline and the overall appearance. But my God, do not say that to that man's face, because the combinations he was throwing, I was just super impressed, man. Yeah, I mean, I really want to see what they do with Kim next. I hope this isn't just a one and done and he's going back to Road FC. I hope he is sticking around, because they're in a bit of a weird position at 135. You got Kyoji, who's the champ, who went to Bellator, and that belt hasn't been defended. And then they did the tournament last year, which Ougikubo won. And I always assumed that the idea was for that rematch of Kyoji versus Ougikubo. Then you got your champion, but now Kim just messed up as well. So I don't know. I feel like we need to do something for a belt. Maybe Kim versus Kyoji if they can get that deal done.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fight, man. Yeah, I would love to see Kim fight someone at Kyoji's status. Yeah,
definitely.
I think he is that good, and just to see what he will do against someone like Horiguchi, that would be interesting to see what his level really is. Because I think because Ougikubo is a freaking good fighter.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. He's legit, right? He could easily be fighting in the UFC if if the opportunity
Yeah.
was there, and probably same for Kim. So, yeah, that was a really fun fight. Just and what's funny is we talked about Mikuru taking the punch and could he have played it off? Ougikubo's eye was like about to swell up, and the referee's there like he's like, of course, like there was no stopping him. He was getting right back in there. So, props to him for putting on that sort of warrior performance. Thoughts on the women's atomweight tournament? We're moving into territory. We've got Siwoo Park versus Seika Izawa as the finals. I presume that's probably going to be New Year's Eve. Any thoughts on how you think that fight might go?
I think that Izawa, I think she's head over heels better.
Oh, really? Wow.
I think her ground game is way stronger. And I think the striking and the wrestling, Park's really good, but I think this Izawa is very young, learning fast. You got another 3 months before that, so she'll get even better. I just think that girl, as young as she is, she's so composed. She's well rounded. And I think the biggest thing about her is she's game. So I think she has a lot more weapons in her repertoire than Park.
Yeah.
So I see her come up. Yeah.
I was gonna say they've actually faced before. They faced in deep. And Izawa Izawa's beat Park. Park has looked a lot better since, though. I think she's come around. She actually apparently broke Ayaka's arm. I think Ayaka posted a picture, and the arm was broken from I think it was a kick that she threw.
Wow.
So Park's quite dangerous. So you never know. I mean, people have said that she was the dark horse.
Block that she lost to him before, so that might play a part in it.
Yeah, they know each other, so that does definitely intriguing final going into it. I think I'm curious to see how that fight plays out. But yeah, Izawa in that fight against can never say her name, Vestiska, Anastasia, right? What did you think of that performance? Because round one,
Anastasia good, man. I didn't even think she was that good.
Yeah.
When she fought Lena, the Rising before this, I really didn't watch it. I didn't really get to see the fight. I think we were there at the event, and I was more concerned about Yoshi's fight, and I think that was the fight, yeah. But yeah, I didn't really get to watch it, and I know Reina won, so I didn't know how good she was. The only thing I remember is when they had that fireworks explosion at the opening ceremony. They were saying she freaked out and cried, because she's from Ukraine.
No way. Shit.
Those big bombs probably didn't work well with her at the time. And I think she was, they told people that it's going to happen, but I think she wasn't prepared for it. So that's the only thing that stood out to me. Poor girl, came on from Ukraine, she was matched up with Rena. So I thought, man, I hope she's not a one and done. Super good person, super beautiful, beautiful soul. She's a cute, beautiful lady too, but more, I feel that what really caught my eye was she's a super nice girl. And man, I was surprised. I didn't think she would really be able to compete with.
I think what surprised me the most was in the Reina fight. Obviously, we were told that she was like a kickboxer, and you could see that, and it was a really competitive fight. But in the Izawa fight, her ground game looked really good, especially the defense. I was shocked at because I had gone in my head thinking, she's made primarily a kickboxer. Once Izawa gets it to the ground, that's it, it's done. But actually, the scrambles were really, really good. So
yeah, she had good. Her ground was very legit. Yeah, I was surprised to me and Sarah watching, and whoa, she got good ground.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she got 2 losses. I hope they bring her back because I'd like to see her fight other people. Because I think she would do well, and she'd be a good thing to RIZIN to have. She's a nice girl, beautiful girl, good story coming from Ukraine. I would love to see her come back and, have more chances and to show what she really can do.
Yeah, hopefully maybe she comes back for New Year's. Maybe they line her up with someone there. And then main event time, Kyoji versus Kentaro. Well, what did you think of that fight?
That was a good fight, man. I mean, you know, Kentaro's always like this game guy, just goes for broke. So we expected that much out of him. Would be interesting to see how you know, Kyoji was going to approach it. Was he going to be more safe and wait till he got tired? But it was kind of cool to see them just go having clash head to head, like how they did, like boom, and it was an exciting fight, man. Kyoji got dropped once, so it looked like he was almost about to be finished.
Yeah, yeah.
But he did it. He actually made it through and ended up, you know, pretty much pounding him out on the ground.
Yeah, when Kintaro landed that shot and Kyoji went down, I nearly fell off the sofa because I thought it was such a hard shot. But Kyoji just seemed to take it and carry on. But that was definitely like a woo when that punch landed.
Like, oh shit, he's gonna lose, you know.
Yeah, to Kintaro, what? But yeah, no, exciting. Let's see what happens next with Kyoji. I hope you kind of dropped a little bit of news there that potentially Bellator fighters for New Year's Eve, right? By the sounds of it, if they're looking at potentially Sudario and a Bellator fighter. So maybe, it'd be cool to see what Bellator brings on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for Shoshi to fight a Bellator fighter in the New Year's. So I'm pretty sure they're probably going to bring a Bellator roster, maybe have a little bit of a Bellator versus RIZIN.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So I think that would be super interesting if they do that. So far, yeah, that's what it sounds like. And I don't know for 100% fact yet, but hoping that actually is something they're planning, because that'd be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Did you go to the after party? You mentioned the after party. Was that?
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't invited.
Oh, okay.
But if I was, I don't know if I'd go, because I went to dinner with some of my sponsors.
Yeah. Oh, so you have planned.
And I'm not a party guy, and you know, I know Shoshi went.
Yeah.
But I didn't get. I mean, I didn't get invited. I probably could have invited myself, but I didn't. I don't know. I don't like that groupie type of stuff where they try to, like, it was funny because when we went to Gigi, I've been in touch with Gigi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been in touch with Gigi, and he wanted to meet up before his fight, but we never had time.
No.
But after his fight, we went to me and she got passes, went to the back to say congratulations to him, because he did a good fight. He lost, but he did great. So we wanted to, tell him, hey, good job, you did good. Yeah. Went back to see him, and of course we had passes, and we were already in Mayweather's room. And I'm pretty much straight up, I want to just do my thing, say, Gigi, good luck, good job, Gigi, see you, and leave, get out of there. And I noticed, Shoshi started videoing. And then when we were about to leave, he didn't come out. He stayed in there, started talking to people. And I was like, whoa. So I'm standing outside the door waiting. And then Shoshi kind of told me, hey, I want to stay in here. Can I stay in here? I said, oh, yeah, go stay in here. And I didn't want to. So I went back to my seat.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I guess I have a hard time being like a groupie kind of guy, just because he's famous. I want to hang out and check him out and be around them, take pictures with him and everything. So that's pretty much what the after party is. You get to meet the fighters, and, especially right. Mayweather, Pacquiao. I would love to meet Pacquiao, but not to a point where I have to go out of my way to meet him. Mike Tyson might be the only fighter that I'd actually go out of my way to meet. Yeah, I do want to meet Mike Tyson one day, but other than that, Pacquiao's cool. He's a nice guy. I love the guy, but love his fighting. But I don't need a picture with him. I don't need to way to meet him. So, for me, the after party would have been the after party would have meant just getting home to the Bubbas a little later.
Right.
And but if I ever did go to after parties, only if I could get Sarah pass and she could go, because I know Sarah would enjoy it.
Right. That makes sense, man. It sounds like they're not as good as the old Pride parties anyway.
Well, Mayweather never showed up at the after party anyway, so.
Well, there you go.
Pacquiao did. I know Shoshi went. He said Mayweather didn't show up. Hagiwara didn't even show up.
Wow, really?
He's probably having a nightmare with Mayweather, about that flower thing. So I mean, I feel for Hagiwara, because he probably had a lot of shit on his plate after that event because of that whole situation.
Yeah,
Very
I bet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, any other notes or observations?
No, nothing really. I think Rising's doing a good job. They're talking about having a Rising Hawaii in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at having a November 6th. They're having a trigger event, which is like a smaller Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're gonna have one on in I think it's the year end.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at two more Risings before the year is over. So going to have one Shoshi's fight on the 25th of October, or three more, yeah. Shoshi's fight on the 25th of October. November 6th, they're having another one, and then the year end, December 31st, is another one. So three more Rising cards. I think the year end one is always a banger where they're going to bring in big names. So it looks like Bellator names probably coming in. So looking forward to it. Looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be fun. Awesome. Well, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. That was my opinion on Rising 38, Super Rising, and the loser that threw the flowers out. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Right on, guys.